because the regime itself says that thousands have died in this crackdown and that some protesters could be hanged today. President Trump last night implied that Iran was close to crossing his red line.
If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy. What do you mean by that? We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
Why is it your business?
We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
It kind of calls question whether and why this is our fight. You can worry about what regime change looks like in reality. You can vehemently oppose British or American troops being sent to any Middle Eastern conflict. But the only humanitarian position is to be deeply and vocally appalled by what Iran's leaders have done to the people of a once great country. Many influential people who were justifiably outraged by the atrocities in Gaza have said little or nothing
that's the point.
about the mass murder of Iranian protesters.
Exactly.
They're so wedded to opposing Israel that anything Israel could benefit from is automatically deemed suspicious or wrong, killed. There's a big debate to be had about President Trump's sudden zest for global meddling.
Anyways, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Why is he doing this? Why is he overdoing it? I mean, did Bill Clinton taste that good? That was gross. Let's just keep going.
Well, joining me now is Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul.
I love
Senator
him.
Paul, great to have you back on Uncensored. Donald Trump is being increasingly bellicose in his rhetoric about this, but what he can actually do, which doesn't have the impact that you just warned about, is a matter for a lot of conjecture, I think. Do you think, separate to what America may or may not do you feel, as many seem to, including the German Chancellor, that we are at a genuine tipping point with this Iranian regime, that it could fall?
I don't.
Guys, this is not a tipping point. This is like manufactured, you understand? Like, it's all manufactured. Trump's just using what's going on now to act like we're at dire straits with them and basically it's do or die. He's only doing this in case he can't convince BB, his baby, that he can't he's trying to talk him out of going into war. But Trump, he's a coward. Need I say more? What about that one guy, on the one island? And I'm not talking Cedar Point.
I don't know if I have the particular insight to tell you one way or the other. I can tell you that even growing up during the Cold War, I was always perplexed. How could people live under Stalin? How could 37 million people die and that the people didn't rise up? There's always more people than there are, autocrats. How does a few autocrats, or maybe a few thousand of these mullahs, how do they control a country of, 60, 80 million people? How does that happen? And so I am perplexed that they don't, but I don't have particular insight as to when it happens. I will say that I was struck at the end of the Cold War how, we all worried about a nuclear war. We worried about a war with Russia that would occur. And instead it just sort of disappeared almost. Just the walls came tumbling down and large protest after large protest transformed into freedom. And I hope and wish for that in Iran. I just don't know that bombs facilitated. I'm worried that American bombs will have the unintended consequence of actually delaying freedom for.
Guys, come on. Let me say something. You have to ask yourself this. We know that Trump can't go to war with all these countries that he keeps talking about. We know this. Israel and Ukraine, those are already taking up all our ammunitions and weapons. And then he threatened, now Venezuela, he's going to go in there, he says, right? Okay, not just Venezuela. He's talking about Greenland, Denmark, Cuba. He just threatened Cuba recently, right? Okay, what else? Oh yeah, add that to the list. Colombia, because they might be sending drugs. God. Obviously we can't do this all. So what is Trump really up to? Does his need to be that loved? Would he destroy the world? I just don't know what to think anymore. Anyways, let's see what else other panel has to say.
Let's turn to Venezuela. The Senate's expected to take another procedural vote today on limiting President Trump's war powers in Venezuela.
Well,
you and 4 other Republican senators.
This was from earlier, but it did go through. 5 Republicans dissented senators.
Voted for the War Powers Resolution that would limit his ability to conduct further attacks in Venezuela. And you said, I think bombing a capital and removing the head of state is by all definitions war. Does this mean we have carte blanche? The president can make the decision any time, anywhere to invade a foreign country and remove people that we've accused of a crime. Now, Trump, by way of response, said that you and the other 4 Republicans who voted this way should never be elected to office again.
Here
and yesterday, he ramped up his Rand Paul rhetoric, calling you a stone-cold loser. Let's take a listen to this.
Make sure he's 88.
So one of our top priorities of this mission is promoting greater affordability.
Okay, really quick. I talk too much, I know, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, this stuff right here used to be cute when we thought he was good. Now that he's turned to the dark side, it's just annoying and immature. And look, he just got a spray tan.
Now,
and every time he gets that tan, he gets cockier. I don't know why. It's weird.
Used by the Democrats. They're the ones that caused the problem.
No,
the one thing they stick together. They don't have some of the people that we have. They don't have a
you want to be a dictator.
Rand Paul that votes against everything.
Or a kid. Look
I
at
got
him.
him elected twice. He was a stone cold loser.
No, he wasn't.
I went to
He's a doctor.
Kentucky where I won by a lot. I did a rally for him.
Ooh.
Then I did another rally. Who won.
And you're doing it for Lindsey Graham too, fool. So what's that mean? Nothing.
And he votes against all the time. It's just crazy. I don't get it.
It's crazy, and you're a stone-cold loser who, without him, wouldn't even be a senator, Rand Paul. Your response? Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night, all natural.
Well, you know what I was reminded of? Trump was at one time a worldwide wrestler. He was on WWE. He's actually in the Hall of Fame.
He's more fake now.
One of his interactions is with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was famous for his Stone Cold Stunner move, where he kicks you in the stomach and then knocks you down. And so there's actually an episode where Trump is in the ring and he's kicked hard in the stomach and pummeled to the ground. And I guess he's got this Stone Cold Stunner thing that's happened to him. And maybe he's confused and thinks I'm Steve Austin. But this is not worldwide wrestling. And, look, we're mature people. There are many things I support the president on. But I promise to defend the Constitution. The debate over war powers is bigger than Donald Trump. It's
Donald Trump. You're making me look bad for the baby. You're making me look bad. I told him I was taken care of. That's basically what Trump's saying.
bigger than me, and it's been going on for, my entire lifetime. So I've informed the president. It's not personal. Look, I voted for 91% of his legislation. That's too bad. But at the same time,
it's funny. He voted 91% with Trump. Marjorie MTG voted 98% with Trump. Bibi voted 0 with Trump. Trump hasn't been able to convince Bibi or change his mind or do anything. I mean, and he's mad at them.
Given up supporting the president. I support him on many things. I actually like him personally. I enjoy his time.
No,
I've known him for a decade. I've played golf with him dozens of times. And so maybe he'll come around. Maybe this is New York stick, or maybe this is WWE stick. I'm not sure what it is.
I think he'll come around. I mean, I've known him 20 years, and the last time I interviewed him, he didn't like some of the criticism I leveled at him. And he went on a rally stage and said I was so dead I was catching flies. And then we had a very nice chat about a few months later. So I think a lot of this is performative, I think, with President Trump. That's what you should be doing. You appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience in an episode released yesterday. And you said this about the attacks on Venezuelan boats.
I agree.
I look at my colleagues who say they're pro-life and they value God's inspiration in life, but they don't give a shit about these people in the boats. And are they terrible people in boats? I don't know. They're probably poor people in Venezuela and Colombia. And really, they say, well, we're at war with them. They're committing war by bringing drugs into America.
They know that's not true.
They're going to these islands in the south part of the Caribbean, the cocaine, and it's not fentanyl at all. The cocaine's going to Europe. Those little boats can't get here.
I mean, their argument will be that their intelligence is these are drug boats bringing illegal drugs across the water, perhaps ending up in America, perhaps killing Americans. If that was the case, hypothetically, if these are all drug boats and they're not innocent people, then do they have a legitimate defense of what they've been doing?
No.
The reason they want to equate drugs as a weapon and make this a war is because normally you don't kill unarmed people. So if tomorrow you decided to go out and shoot a bunch of people on a boat, it would be murder. But if you're coming from the government and you say there's a war, then it's not. But the idea that drugs are a weapon, you'd have to imagine that the big pallets of cocaine, they come and they hit you over the head with them, and then they would be a weapon, and then they would force you to take the cocaine. They're coming here for our black market, for people who are voluntarily buying it. But it's actually most of the drugs that we've been shooting the people aren't coming here. Those drugs are very...
They should do a whole... Piers should do uncensored on fake-ass Christians, especially the Republican side. I mean, these guys are bloodthirsty. I don't understand. How can they actually say they believe in God and then see women and children getting slaughtered and they say, Hamas is using them for a shield. Hamas. It's like unbelievable. Hypocrites. Unbelievable.
But those are American drug laws. They're not Venezuelan. But the other thing, in the indictment, they actually accuse him of owning or conspiring to own machine guns.
Maduro.
Well, every leader in the whole world has soldiers protecting them with machine guns.
This is the part that pisses me off royally. I mean, this is just pathetic. It's about Trump and the middle finger. And people like Benny Johnson are putting memes and laughing about it. It's not a funny joke, you dork. It's not funny. He's a president. That's one of his citizens. Pay taxes. What are you laughing about? And he called him a pedicure protector. So it's not like he, you know what I mean? Like the guy had no right to be angry. Guy who's hurt and offended what Trump did and lied about. You're talking about him, talking crap about him, but you don't know if it's appropriate if Trump gave him the finger. He's a president. What are you talking about, bro?
To all of you,
she's like, I want to be pretty. I don't know.
Yeah. To all of you, get the civil stuff out the way early so that we can have the less than civil stuff later as things turn a little Trump-like and inappropriate, doubtless, as we get into these things. Let's start with that. Glenn Greenwald, the President of the United States flipping the bird at an American car worker. Appropriate?
Honestly, it's not something that particularly bothers me. I think, though, at the same time, it's perfectly fine for a factory worker who feels like President Trump's policies have been harmful to him and his economic security and his family's economic security to scream at him as well. That is the nature of the United States. We don't have royalty. We're not expected to be totally deferential or even necessarily polite to our political leaders. And I thought what he did was fine. And, you could make an argument of presidential decorum, but I'm not really bothered by what President Trump
not liking this, man.
Helps you kind of visualize what he actually thinks about Americans. That's what I think.
I mean, the worker was screaming at him, pedophile protector.
Ooh.
Yeah, because he is. He is a pedophile protector. Has still to comply with the order to release the Epstein files.
And, this is a democratic society, and yes, we have our freedoms, so we should also have a certain level of respect for the institution of the presidency, because, look, President Trump won't always be in office, but...
This phrase, Trump derangement syndrome, this was invented by Charles Krauthammer, who was a Washington Post columnist and a psychiatrist back in the Bush years, to pathologize people who were criticizing George Bush for the war on terror, basically saying they were mentally ill. It then got transported to every president. Obama derangement syndrome, now Trump derangement syndrome, which is basically a way of saying that if you vehemently oppose your president, that you have some sort of behavioral problem. That is the spirit of America going back since its founding. Is we curse our leaders, we can say the worst things about them, and the idea that somehow Trump gets an unusual amount or a unique amount of abuse. Go look at what conservatives were saying about Joe Biden and Barack Obama. They were communist dictators. They were incredibly corrupt.
No, he's wrong. I mean, they went after Trump beyond anyone else in the world. I mean, come on. They went after his children too. Look. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard, damn it.
I posted today something I've just been thinking about this week, which is that there's been a kind of deafening silence from Hollywood. The Golden Globes came and went in the middle of all this, with no celebrity mentioning
Hollywood,
the Iranian protesters. Very few high-profile media people who've been very vocal about what's happened, for example, in Gaza, have said anything about it either. And to me, there is a moral hypocrisy and cowardice going on here. And it's linked to the fact that in their heads, they believe this is all benefiting Israel, that Israel's tentacles are clearly involved here in fomenting the protests and encouraging America to take action and so on, which may well all be true. But it doesn't change the fact that to me, it's warped their humanity from queuing up and protesting in large numbers about what's happening in Gaza, quite rightly, but zero complaint or protests or offers of sympathy or empathy to the Iranian protesters.
Americans protest what their government does because that's what they can influence. They protested the Vietnam War that the U.S. was waging. They protested U.S. support for the apartheid regime of South Africa because that's what the U.S. was doing. They protest the U.S. support and financing and arming of Israel's destruction of Gaza because that was what the United States was doing. The United States isn't supporting Iran. What would these protests? What would their impact be? The reason why people protest is because they want their government to change their policy. That's the first thing. The second thing is I think most people understand, although it's completely excluded from Western elite political and media discourse, that the United States and Great Britain love tyranny of this kind. The United States and Great Britain not just do business with, but prop up and keep in power some of the worst, most repressive, savage tyrannies on the planet in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, in Egypt, in all kinds of countries in that region, in Uganda, in Rwanda. Why aren't people going at what's really driving this concern about Iran is not that we're so concerned about repression as a geopolitical enemy of the United States and Israel, and that's
don't have to protest necessarily as publicly offer support. I'm not seeing much of that from the people who've been leading the calls for people to support and show empathy for the Palestinians. Do you feel there is a double standard in the way this is being treated?
Absolutely. There is a huge hypocrisy in the way that most people in the West have even paid attention to what's going on in Iran over the last 2 weeks. In just 3 days, we don't have an exact death toll, but it could be more people than have been killed in Gaza in over the 3 years that we had that.
Wait, what the hell? Did she just say what I think she said? That Iran has much casualties in 3 days in the whole run in Gaza. Is she insane? Who is this woman? She's got to be on some kind of like some partisan mission or some shit. She's unbelievable. How dare you disrespect those people like that?
At that war, but why are you saying, "Oh my God"? I mean, can I speak?
Too, yeah.
You know what?
Yeah,
with this
sorry,
whole
please
conversation,
go ahead. But that is just.
The fact that you are so
just invent
privileged
statistics. You shouldn't just invent. You're not privileged. Where do you live? You're not privileged.
I'm talking about the Iranian people. I will never take away from the fight of the Iranian people because of where I sit. You know why I do what I do?
I'm not taking away from the Iranian people. I just don't want people.
Wait, so what, I'm confused. Is she just trying to defend? Is she Iranian, so she's defending them, or is she like someone on the right trying to kiss Trump's ass and trying to justify going to war with them because they died in 3 days? More people died in Iran from the protests than the whole war in Gaza. What the hell?
I lie about them, and I don't want my government intervening militarily.
Growing my hair and not losing my life for it. That's where I feel privileged. This whole conversation.
That's how you're going to connect to America.
You're totally privileged. You're totally privileged. So don't use that as an argument to weaponize.
Why are you speaking over me? You don't want to hear what I
made an accusation.
It has been reported widely that the death toll is around 70 to 80,000. Now, that is a matter of conjecture. People say it could be higher. Some have said it may be too high. But that is the general accepted
reports
number.
Came out
We're talking about that.
And most of those were
okay,
terrorists.
But that's a period.
We have to talk facts.
Lisa, let me finish my point. Lisa, let me finish.
Those lines don't matter.
But that's in a period of over 2 years, okay? And then we come to what's happened here. And it's been reported, admitted by the Iranians, that it's at least 2,000. Other reports, CBS say
500.
They believe, from what they're hearing on the ground, it could be 12,000 or more. And we don't know. We don't know because the internet has been turned off. Information flow is terrible. But the footage we're seeing, most of it is old footage, regurgitated for propaganda purposes on all sides. We just don't really know what's going on. So you might be right. But Glenn is also right. But hang on, Lisa, let me finish, Lisa. Glenn might be, I think he's understanding me saying, hang on a second, you got to say glibly, not you were being glib, but just to throw out there the idea that 70,000 people have been killed. We just don't know that. So I think that
Why don't I say, can I pick up where 40, we don't even have to focus on the last 2 weeks. Why don't we focus on 47 years? Thousands and thousands have been killed for a mere Facebook post, for showing their hair, for dressing a certain way.
So we should go to war.
For being a journalist, pushed off the top of a building as a medical student because they were protesting peacefully against the government. Can we talk about the fact that in 1979, this government came in and launched an ideological war that all of you are victims to, that are spewing these talking points? Why? Because they wanted to, remember ISIS that we were all afraid
Why?
of?
Because we're not foot soldiers for the Zionists? Is that why? Because we're not foot soldiers for Zionists? The same Zionists that are...
Okay, so I didn't know this chick. So yeah, Anna said that. That means that is why. I mean, she's trying to justify what going on Iran. It's like, you know what? If they were that crazy, why are you even still alive, woman? You're showing your hair. Ooh, oh, let's go to the Iranian strip clubs. You see them take out their hijab, like, you know what I mean? Like that's their thing. Get the hell out of here.
Trying to co-opt an organic uprising in Iran and essentially ruin it? Is that why?
Original caliphate. They want to export their ideology, and that is why they are a threat to the United States. They are a threat to Europe. And of course,
okay, if she's not going to criticize the country that starts with the letter I, that means she is a Zionist fool. I mean, God, I always say this: a Zionist is someone who can't succeed without being corrupt. They can't be someone without being corrupt. That's all it is. What do you think? Do you really think Zionists are real Christians who care about the passage of Israel and all that? No. They're doing it for, it's like a business resume. It's like a connection, like the skulls. And in case you don't know, if you don't watch my channel, there's a hotline that discourages Jewish girls from dating Arab men. Just like we have hotlines for suicides in America, they're just for goys who are Arab men. That's, oh my God, it's insane.
Okay, let me.
They're not a threat to the United States. They're a threat to Israel, and that's what your primary concern here is. And if you care about the people of Iran, which I do,
don't talk
you
over
would
each
want
other.
to
Let Anna
actors
speak,
getting
please, Lisa.
involved to co-opt that
Lisa, let Anna
movement and
speak.
essentially install
Anna,
a monarch
please.
that the people of
Please
Iran do
don't
not
talk
want.
over each other, or no one can hear either.
They're a threat to the United States. Why are they waiting for us to attack?
I'm sure they could hear me. No, I'm just saying. I mean, look, the people of Iran deserve the type of leadership and government they want. And I hate the fact that an organic demonstration has effectively been co-opted by Israeli interests who brag almost on a daily basis at this point about how they have Mossad on the ground. Mossad bragged about it. Amichai Eliyahu, who is the cultural minister in Israel, bragged about it.
Now that's a real woman.
Are bragging about it. Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State, is bragging about
Not
it.
the hair
Okay,
stripper.
having those types of insidious actors co-opting that demonstration is going to be to the detriment of Iran. And if Iranians want freedom, installing a Shah, installing a monarch who hasn't lived in the country for 47 years makes absolutely no sense. My heart breaks for the Iranian people.
Right, let me bring in,
what they want is being exploited.
Lisa, let me bring in. I want to bring in Hoy.
Who have been killed in Iran is horrible. And now, let me just add, what we are here in the United States also debating is what would be the role of the United States and what President Donald Trump should do, because he threatened that he was going to participate in somehow if the number of people killed would raise, and then the numbers are incredible. I mean, we started with 2,000, probably it's 12,000. So for me, the real question is if this new doctrine, Don Road doctrine, is going to extend from Venezuela to Iran. I think that's the main question here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say to Anna's point, for example, that two things can be true at once. I mean, many things can be true at once, but it can be that the Iranian people have organically risen up, as they've tried before, against their regime, because it's a despicable regime that represses them and treats them horrifically badly. And that's why they've done it. And it may be that at the same time, Israel senses a real opportunity to remove its main enemy in the region that's gone out of its way to empower and arm and monetize terror groups from Hamas to Hezbollah and the Houthis, right? So these things could all be true at the same time.
Been slaughtered there.
Right, but you wouldn't try and argue the point about a number of people being killed in Gaza.
And now you're trying to deny the Iranian people and their death toll. And what I'm telling you is, even if we don't even look at the last 2 weeks...
Can we just talk about the disparities that are being reported right now? Because we just had Homegirl talk about how there's 70 to 80,000 people who've been slaughtered in Iran.
No, because that number is not, it's not 70 or 80,000 in Gaza.
Am I supposed to take you seriously? Am I supposed to take the Zionist who provides cover for Israel's genocide seriously on this? I don't take you seriously, sorry. But my heart breaks for the innocent lives of Iraqi people.
Let me bring in Glenn. Let me bring in Glenn.
Lost their lives in Gaza.
Okay, stop shouting at each other. Let me bring in Glenn Greenwald.
No, I'm spewing the truth and you don't like it.
We're told, and I know, Piers, you were one of them. Saddam Hussein is an evil dictator. He has slaughtered huge numbers of Iraqis. He gassed his own people. He tortures them in torture chambers, all of which was true. And that did not mean that either the United States ought to have intervened in order to take down the regime, or that the Iraqi people wanted the United States to go in and take down the regime, or that it would be helpful to the Iraqi people to go and take down the Iraqi regime.
Okay, so, well, look. I am from Iraq, and no, they didn't want the help.
I think we've seen the very clear lessons that in fact was not the truth, but it was morally repugnant to accuse opponents of U.S. intervention in Iraq of cheering for Saddam or not caring about the lives of the Iraqi people. The same thing in Vietnam. People opposed to the war in Vietnam were told, you don't care about the slaughter by Ho Chi Minh of the people in South Korea, people in South Vietnam, and rather people in Iraq, people in Libya, people in Venezuela, they're going to welcome you as liberators. They all want you to come and save them. This is all proven to be false propaganda. No one doubts the Iranian regime is a brutal, savage dictatorship. It's the same for many countries in the region, including ones the United States and the UK prop up. The issue is, if the Iranian people on their own want to protest their government, and a lot of the protests, by the way, are economic. They're suffocating economically because of U.S. sanctions. Whatever their motives are, political, economic, have at it. I mean, the Iranian people should determine their own sovereignty and their own government. Okay. The issue is nobody wants Israel and the United States intervening because of how disastrous that is proven to be for the countries in which they intervene.
Okay, well, let's switch. Hang on. I want to change on the similar theme of America potentially interfering. Anna Gasparin, I think Carlos Sanz rather pointedly ducked the comparison to Taiwan, but this is my big issue. I can understand, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can understand the logic for why Donald Trump and his administration would like to have Greenland. There are 60,000 people that live there. It's one of the biggest countries in the world. It's massively mineral rich. It's obviously, from a security point of view, highly strategic, and so on and so on. I understand the argument, but my concern about it is simply, mainly, the precedent it sets. That if America decides it can just take Greenland, well, why can't Russia take Ukraine? Because they would use the same security argument. They have done. Why can't China take Taiwan for the same argument? What's your view?
Well, it's not like this latest issue of, Greenland made me change my mind on this. I've been thinking this for a while now. The United States really doesn't have a moral high ground to judge the actions of any other state. So if China decides that they want to take Taiwan, the U.S. can't use the argument that they want to protect Taiwan, that it's wrong, that they should be able to govern themselves. I mean, look what we just did in Venezuela. In essentially, luckily we didn't engage in a long, drawn-out war in order to do regime change yet. But the idea that you just go into a country, essentially kidnap the leader of that country, however deplorable you might find him to be, and then just announce to the world, you're taking the oil. That's it. We're taking the oil. We're keeping the oil. That's not a good look, and you have no moral high ground after you do something like that. So I agree with you. And in regard to Greenland, there's one other piece of this puzzle that I don't think gets talked about enough. Responsible Statecraft did a really great report about this. Yes, the rare earth minerals are definitely bringing the United States attention to that area. You also have the military capabilities that the U.S. wants to bolster in Greenland, which, by the way, we have a military base there right now. And Greenland has already said, if you need to build out more, like, we'll let you do that. We don't want to be part of the United States. There's also the tech industry. So Peter Thiel and Elon Musk in particular see Greenland as an important place to essentially do some of their anarcho-capitalist experiments, because they don't have to worry about certain regulations that they have to deal with in the United States. So there are all sorts of moneyed interests involved here, and what gets left out are the feelings and concerns of the indigenous people living in Greenland right now.
Okay.
Their opinions apparently don't matter
Forward a few
at
weeks.
all.
All right, let me bring in Jorge. As we're talking, it's been reported that Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio will meet with Danish and Greenland officials today. So things are moving quickly here. Donald Trump's a deal maker, a trader at heart. If he makes the Greenlanders, 60,000 of them, a tiny number of people compared to the size of the country, if he makes them an offer they can't refuse, an economic offer, so he gives them all $100,000, whatever it is, and they agree that they then want to become part of the United States, should we have a massive problem with that?
Yes.
I mean, I'd have a massive problem if America attacked Greenland to take it by force. But if there's an economic deal, if it's basically traded, and the Greenlanders take the money and are happy with it, and it improves security for the West, why would...
Well, because America right now has got worse credit than men in prison. I mean, the hell didn't Israel and America try to buy out? It's like a company buyout. Why'd they try to buy out, what's it called? The Gazans. Pay them to leave then. How about that? They would have saved a lot more money doing that way. But why is it all an offer now? But now it wasn't then. Well, my guess would be because they wanted to hurt them. They didn't just want them out of there. I think they wanted to humiliate them, punish them, and maybe get rid of them. They just say genocide for a reason. Because if money was the problem, that probably would have worked. But Bibi taking so much more money for the war, it would have been cheaper just to buy him out. It's all shit. Every single
talk
thing.
Like this. I mean, since Donald Trump decided to be president of the United States, this is 21 of they don't want to be part of the United States.
We want to be that leader by deterrence. So, the taking of Greenland is very similar to what you had said, the spreading of influence by Iran's regime in South America and Central America, for example, or China in the African continent and elsewhere, in exchange for whether it's technology, internet, roads, minerals, as you said. Why is it such a faux pas? We can't pick and choose. I see your panelists are picking and choosing where we want to be moral and where we want to be strategic. The United States foreign policy isn't meant to make everybody happy. It's meant to make the United States strong. It's meant to improve our economy and improve our national security and improve our security abroad. I mean, it's a conversation to be had over those things and not over morality.
Oh, okay. So we should go to work because they made you wear a hijab and you want to leave your hair out. That's a good reason.
Or the high ground or whatever else we want to call it.
All right, Glenn Greenwald, final word to you.
We're $40 trillion in debt because of our foreign entanglements. Saying that this is good for our economy is laughable, to say the least.
All right, Glenn. Well, join me now. My next guest is an authority.
I'll do the intro. The sellout, PBD, who's a wannabe Zionist, who you would think is a solid dude, but he's about to try to send war to his home country. Let's not get it twisted, guys. Yeah, he's got talent, but the hardest part, becoming successful, is that initial push, that initial, like you're a startup, to become a successful businessman, whatever. What he did to get his startup was, let me tell you, a pyramid scheme. That's what PBD did. So this guy is going on puffing his chest like he's some badass genius. All he did was screw people over. He called it an insurance company. It was a pyramid scheme. It was pathetic. It was a Ponzi scheme. So let's not get that twisted. And let's see what he's going to say. This guy's a sellout. I mean, the way he kissed Bibi's ass during the interview. They claim to be Christian. I'm just so tired of it. They keep saying ban AK-47s, assault rifles. Ban religion as a weapon. I'm tired of this. It's just ridiculous.
His voice on many things, but especially Iran, and has big views on what should happen next. For Uncensored, the Iran-born entrepreneur, CEO of Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David. Patrick, Happy New Year, and welcome back to Uncensored.
I used to like him a lot.
Happy New Year to you as well. Great to be back on.
I had a great time coming to see your empire. Can describe it as nothing less than an empire over in Fort Lauderdale. I had a great time. Thank you for hosting me there. Really enjoyed our conversation. So much has happened since we met just a few weeks ago. Let's see a number of uprisings.
I think it's only different because of one reason, and that is President Donald Trump. Here's what's taken place. The number one most important priority here is the Iranian people. The Iranian people are telling IRGC, we're sick of it. They're telling Khamenei,
there it is.
Don't want this regime. You're seeing just today a 26-year-old man who is going out there protesting. He's being executed. Today's the day. We'll see if they're going to do it or not. God willing, it's not going to happen to him. This is how Iran works. Hey, according to you, saying what you said against the God of Iran, God doesn't support what you're saying. They can make the decision and say, yeah, God doesn't like what you're doing. We're going to kill you and take you out. So the world is starting to see this. And the numbers that we saw, 12,500 civilians that have been killed. This has been reported by CBS. Allegedly, these are numbers that are coming in.
CBS numbers are beneficial when you're trying to sell your shit point. But besides that, fake news, unless they like what they're hearing. This guy's a sellout. I mean, honest to God, make up your mind. Are you Iranian? Are you American? If you're American, then you should not give a shit. Well, I'm not saying you should give a shit about your people and your country. But to try to stoke a war because you're a sellout, money-hungry fool, I can't get along with that. I can't get down with that. And, are you an American? He knows. When it's Democrats doing stuff, this guy's such a hypocrite like Dan Bongino. Oh, war, wasting money, we're $38 in debt. And it's like, but the Iranian people, they're tired of this. Enough, bro. Then go there. Go give them hugs and cookies. Why do these guys come out? I mean, if you're a Christian, you should be against killing. I don't care who, what country, you should be. I'm just so tired of this garbage. Let's listen to this fool. Why do people keep watching him? If they're just going to do the Zionist talking points, why do people keep watching Benny Johnson, him, all these other fools, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro? I mean, guys, learn.
We've seen is 2,500. The high number that some people are reporting to me from Iran right now is 40,000. But let's just say between 2,500 to 12,500. That 12,500 is the equivalent of the amount of civilians that were killed
in 9/11
in Ukraine the last 3 years, but it happened in Iran in a span of 2 weeks. That's what's going on in Iran today. So what is the difference? Let's go through 47 years. For 47 years, Iranians have been wanting to be free. For 47 years. For 47 years, the main face of the person that has been wanting to help Iran be free is Reza Pahlavi. And for 47 years, they have failed, and he has failed miserably for 47 years. There's a faction, a group of people that want him to succeed. There's a group of people that he can't do anything right on. I'm in the part of the group of people that wants to see him succeed. Now, here's the difference.
God, he's annoying.
Take President Trump. We've had a lot of presidents the last 47 years, 48 years, a lot of them. And a lot of people are like, well, let's negotiate, let's do this, let's do that, let's help him out with the nuclear, all this other stuff. President Trump is saying, if you screw around with us, we're going to kill Qasem Soleimani. He killed Qasem Soleimani, the number 2 guy, who would have eventually been the president or the real leader of Iran. That's a very, very heavyweight. That was their general pattern that he killed, right? So today, the Iranian leaders are sitting there wondering, could something happen next? If the president yesterday said, we're done with the negotiations, we're done with talking about all this.
Okay, you know he's full of shit because he thinks, because Trump got Soleimani, they're thinking, bro, Trump gave him the ultimatum knowing that they would fail the ultimatum so he can have an excuse to go in war within Iran and not just say he's doing it for Bibi, his boyfriend. So what are you talking about? And let me ask you something. National debt was a serious problem when Democrats were wasting money and trying to do other wars. You complained about it. Now all of a sudden national debt's not a problem? Look, guys, people like him, Benny John, I know I say it all the time, but they're rich. They're going to keep getting rich, whether they lie to their viewers or not. Because they got to a point where they're so famous, so popular on the podcast that there's always a group of suckers. Most people are, I guess. So what it comes down to is he wants to kiss. He has no reason to be honest. He's not a Christian. I don't buy that bullshit. Anyways, he has no reason to be honest. I mean, unless you're a moral person, which obviously he's not. Because if you were moral, you would say, you would judge it the same as you would any other president, Biden, Trump. Your emotions don't have freaking rate. You know what I mean? They don't have filters. I mean, either you feel or don't for humanity. I don't like this bullshit. If it was Biden, you would say, we're $38 billion in debt. We're going to do it. That's what he would say. Because it's Trump. We have President 47. Enough. I mean, Everyone knew when Trump campaigned, my point is this. Him, everyone kissed his ass. They love what they got to hear. Trump's doing the opposite, and they're just still saying the same shit they said before. How? If he did the opposite of what you guys said you wanted him to do before he won, why are you still singing his praises?
Other stuff. You're either stopping this or we have to intervene, and I think that's kind of where we're at. So if you want to kind of put it in a nutshell, what I think will happen today, Piers, it's really who can tolerate pain the longest, the Iranian people or the government. Whoever can, and I know this is a very, people are dying and they're getting killed, and I don't want to oversimplify, but that's really what it's come down to. Because there's a 25% sanction that the president just put on Iran, and they're going to feel that. Why are they going to feel that? Because the people that are doing business with them. But then the Iranians, on the other hand, how much longer can they go with their kids dying? How much longer can they go with food, water, inflation?
What a piece of fucking garbage. You pathetic shell of a man. You hear what he's just saying? What about Gazan kids and dying in starvation? You were saying it was cool. He was cool with it. He didn't care. He said, "Oh, well, the Hamas, they're using this shit." Again, you are not a Christian. Strategic emotions. That means you're not legit. You can't point and shoot your emotions and feelings and empathy and adjust it like that.
How much longer can they go and not going to work? How much longer can they go and not paying the bills? How much longer can they go and not having a regular
this coward,
life? How much longer can they do that? So
this coward left his family behind to just look out for himself. He didn't stay there and fight, but he's saying that they should do it now. And if not, the Americans will come and do it for them. You're a sick
say,
coward.
well, let's negotiate next week. They're delaying this so the Iranians eventually say, I give up. We're no longer protesting. They win.
Should Donald Trump get actively involved with the U.S. military?
Here it comes.
Or would that make things worse rather than better for the protesters, you think?
If you study history of a time that we intervened versus a time that we didn't intervene. In 1952, there was a leader named Mossadegh. He was there
Just tell yes or no.
For 37 years. Iran improves in the economy. This Savak, which their Savak was our CIA, was, Israel's Mossad, was UK's MI6, which, by the way, just so you know, the MI6, the Mossad, and the CIA trained the Savak. So every time people criticize Savak, just so you know, Mossad, CIA, and MI6 trained Savak. So it's not like it was their CIA. So all the complaints that you hear about was that. So intervening got rid of Mossadegh and brought in Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. The economy opened up. Everybody did business with Iran. It was good. Now let's go to a time that we didn't intervene. 1979.
You're not going to fool us.
The Shah is calling Kissinger and Jimmy Carter, because Jimmy Carter, when he came December 21st of 1977,
Iranian South American history. Get out of here.
Of stability. Iran's a great partner to us. When the Shah and his people are calling, pleading for help, Kissinger and Carter were like, yeah, we'll help out. Yeah, we'll help out. Yeah, we'll help out. They never showed up.
Why is it our problem?
Iran fell. Khomeini came in. Those 3,000 political prisoners that the Shah had released ended up doing 9/11. 3,600 people died at World Trade Center. So you have to make the decision for yourself whether you're an interventionist or non-interventionist. In my opinion, here, is the world a better place without IRGC? Yes. Is the world a better place with Khomeiни's regime and Pezeshkian to fall? Yes.
Better for who?
Is the world a better place to see them get rid of the way they conduct what they do in Iran? Yes, absolutely. Who does not want to see this? This is the question that we have to ask ourselves. Who wants to see intervention? Who does not want to see intervention? Who loses if Iran becomes a democracy? Who takes a hit? Way before there was a Dubai.
Enough.
Way before there was a Saudi. Way before all this, your friend Ronaldo who plays soccer.
Again.
Before Saudi, before all these places, the place that was the OG Dubai was Tehran, Iran. That's where Sinatra would perform concerts in 75. That's where
okay, we get it. You're a traitor.
So it's important to know the differentiation between the two. So, if done right, I think the world's a safer place. I don't think Saudi wants to see Iran be democracy again because they lose business. Now there's competition. Now you got another place to buy oil from. I don't think China wants to see that. They're buying oil right now for nothing. They're cheap. I don't know if Russia fully wants to see this. I definitely don't think Turkey wants to see this. So if you're talking about who doesn't want to see Iran be free again, how is China, Russia, Turkey as allies with us? I know we have closed doors. Turkey is trying to broker a conversation of,
Look, this guy likes to talk with his hands like he's like the mafia. Look, he's talking out of his ass. We all know this. Because he knows never in history have we ever intervened. Oh, Soleimani? If that worked, genius, then why are we trying to go after them now to save your people? I mean, you just said that if we don't, worse things could happen, basically. And you're saying Trump taking Soleimani out was good, right? Well, then why the hell did they expect to shit again? And he knows this. He said it about Iraq. He said it about Kuwait. He said it about other countries where he said intervention. He says it himself. It doesn't work. It wastes money. It doesn't work, regime change. But now, and you're thinking he's doing it because of Iran, right? No, he's a bigger coward than this. He's actually doing it for the country that starts with the letter I. That one guy they call BB, he's the prime minister of. That's who he's really doing this for. So he's even, if he was doing it just for Iran, he's still pathetic. For lying to people, knowing that the results are going to be shit and crush America's economy. But he's not even doing it for his own country. He's doing it for some other guy's country. God, I swear to God, I'm ashamed for ever being the right man.
Well, negotiation talks between Iran and U.S., but I think U.S. President Trump just said we're no longer talking to them.
What do you feel?
Okay, don't listen to this fool. Trump gave the ultimatum because he was going to go to Iran no matter what. He was going to go to Iran no matter what. He wanted to make it look like there's a reason to. If you kill the protesters, I'm going to get very mad, and I'm going to ground you. No, bullshit. It's the same way he just did right now. Oh, Venezuelans getting drugs are killing Americans. We have to go there. Same shit. He didn't want people to say you're being dog walked by BB, so he said, "Oh, don't hurt the protesters." Oh, really? If you gave a shit about people, now 70,000 dead kids and women, and in Gaza, there wouldn't be some files out there that he's covering up.
Donald Trump's thinking at the moment about the world. There's so much happening. You know, we've had the removal of Maduro, bringing him to court in the United States. Incredible military operation, but taking out the head of a state like that and bringing him out, very contentious, obviously. He's talking about taking Greenland for security and economic reasons. We've just been debating that. We're talking about, Iran, we've had Nigeria, we've had all these things happening. What do you think is the central thinking of Donald Trump with all this stuff?
What BB wants, BB gets.
I think we haven't had a expansionist president in our lifetime, period. We've played scared. America has played scared. Let's just face it. We've been isolationist. We've been involved in a lot of coups and, hey, let's do some proxy here, let's do some proxy there. We haven't had a James Polk type of a leader that says, why don't we think about making America bigger? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait a minute, this whole number, I've seen all the reports, only 4% of people support the fact that if we use military to take over Greenland, I don't think we need to use military, just like we didn't need to use, Maduro military was used, the Delta Force crushed it, they did a great job. But I do think there is a argument for that on why it's fine to expand. We bought Louisiana for $15 million, big move. We bought Florida for $5 million, big move. We had Texas,
right now,
was its own sovereign.
His subscriber count should be 0. That's it. This guy's he's doing what's best for him. BB's in his ear right now. He's probably got something like a microphone and say this, PBD, say this. What good is it to have fuck you money if you're never going to say fuck you? Why are these people keep selling out when they're rich?
Country from 1836 to 1845, they had, different embassies in France and in London. If you go look at Google right now, type in Texas Embassy, London, you'll see there's a Texas Embassy in London back in the 1840s. So guess what? Texas became part of America. We bought Alaska for $7.2 million. They called it the dumbest deal ever until we found golden oil.
Yeah, the PBD pyramid scheme. We should try that to acquire Greenwald.
California, Arizona, all these other places. I think this mindset of being an expansionist that we haven't had for all these years, and he's thinking long term of, hey, we need to protect ourselves of what China's doing. I like that. The downward doctrine of protecting the Western Hemisphere. I like that. I don't like the fact that a company called Hutchinson owns the 40-something ports and they own control of Panama Canal. What if the next COVID happens and all of a sudden China says we're shutting down Panama Canal, products are not coming in? What happens to our lives? Dramatically changes. So I like the fact that we're trying to get a Greenland to protect ourselves with minerals. Today or yesterday he was talking about the fact that we need this to build a dome that's going to cost us some $175 billion, the old project that Reagan talked about. I like that he's playing offense. And by the way, I understand why Americans are not used to this. I understand why Americans are not used to a president that's selling the vision of the future. We haven't had a president like this.
Wow,
it
what a
should be
sellout
uncomfortable.
loser.
It should be disturbing, but I love that he's sequencing thinking about America long term instead of just thinking America for the next year, 2 years, 3 years.
Guys, enough. He's pathetic. That's not what's going on. He knows that's not what's going on. If this was always part of the plan, it was such a great idea, why didn't he campaign on it? And why this fool kept going against all the other wars? I mean, except the one that benefited Israel, I forgot that one. But again, if this was part of the plan all along and it wasn't just BB's dog walking Trump, This would have been in the campaign promises and all the ads before he became president. We're going to expand the country. Why didn't he say it once? I'm just so tired of people. You can't trust them. Like, and these are the people that they get the money, they get the attention, they get the viewers. These are the people. He will sell out his own daughter if Bibi or Trump told him to. He would. I mean, you don't think, what, Iranians going to get killed because of your stupid words? Yeah, I want my country to be good. Get them, boys. Enough. Screw him.
As somebody who came to the United States as an immigrant myself, are you getting concerned about what's happening with ICE? And the reason I say that is not just the incident with Rene Good, who was killed by an ICE officer in that highly disputed incident. It's more that the polling about ICE agents now is extremely bad. And it plays something, you and I discussed this when I came on your show, which is that when it comes to immigration, Trump's done an amazing job in sealing the southern border. That is unarguable. Most people agree with it. Most Americans agree with it. I think most Americans agree with undocumented people in America who commit crimes that are not linked to their status. They should be deported. Everyone agrees with it. And so on. Actually very un-American.
Obama deported 3 million people.
Right.
Why was it that we didn't have these kinds of issues under Obama and we're having it today? I don't know if you saw this or not. She says that. And I'm sitting there thinking to
enough
myself.
of this. Honestly, I did. And then just, I just realized, not just now, but this year, last year, that we're all basically in the same situation. We, usually dog your competition because you're at different levels, you know what I mean? But we're all in the same bullshit, same game. We're all in the same situation. I don't know why we go left. But I know this. People like him made me turn on the right. I'm done with the right. That's it. At least the left doesn't use religion. And, they might do their own stupid thing. Like, kids, like Nancy Pelosi. The kids in the field. Fine, whatever. But these guys use religion, and I'm so tired of it. That's something that should be off limits. Not to get what you want. Take care, guys.